evening, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, which is entitled Screening and Stock Ideas from the Online Stock Tools Suite and the Better Investing website. My name is Ann Cunias, and I am your host. Our presenter this evening is Suzi Artzberger. She is the Vice President of Online Stock Tools, Information Technology, and Data here at Better Investing. And in case that didn't sway you, I will tell you that Suzi is highly qualified to speak on tonight's subject matter. She leads the team that develops and continuously improves these powerful stock tools, and she is a dedicated user of the tools that help her manage her own stock investments. So with that, I'm going to turn things over to you so you can help us learn what Better Investing has to offer us in the area of great stock ideas. Suzi.
Thank you, Ann, and welcome everyone. Let's get started with our standard disclaimer because we love it so much. You will see some stock ideas as we go through our program. Please consider all of them for demonstration purposes only. Whenever you see a stock in one of our webinars, please research it and ensure you understand what you're investing in before you invest. Securities in the screenshots or the live demo may or may not be currently held in my portfolio. I am an active investor. Our presentations may contain images of products or services that are not endorsed by Better Investing. If those images exist, that doesn't imply that they are endorsed by me or Better Investing. Our session is being recorded for future use in case you have to leave or want to review it again later. The recording will be posted in the video learning library and available to members after logging in to the Better Investing member website. Today, we're excited to take you through an overview of the screener or stock ideas page of the online stock tools suite and all the cool features that you can find there. After that, we'll dive into a live demo of the stock ideas page in SSGPlus so you can see it in action. And then to wrap things up, we'll explore some additional features of your Better Investing membership and the member website that can help you discover even more stock ideas. If you have questions as we go along, please don't hesitate to submit them in the webinar chat or the questions pane, whatever it looks like to you. They will either be addressed live, answered by one of our capable backroom staff, or will be answered after the webinar if time does not allow us to get to them during the live webinar. First, a quick intro into the stock ideas page. When you land on the stock ideas page, you'll notice that it offers a variety of ways to explore potential investment opportunities. Whether you're looking for a well-established company or a small up-and-coming stock or simply inspiration for your next deep dive, this page has something for every investor. One of the most user-friendly features is the predefined stock screens. These are ready-made filters that help you quickly narrow down companies based on different criteria. Next, on the left, we have individual screening criteria where you can craft your own filter from any combination of the items listed. SSGPlus users have the most criteria, while Core subscribers have 6 items from which to develop their queries. And then for SSGPlus users, there's the ticker heat map on the right. This visually striking tool shows you the most popular stocks being studied by our Better Investing community, color-coded by potential return. Bigger boxes represent stocks that are most frequently studied, while the colors from dark green to red indicate the relative favorability of those stocks based on projected returns and management factors. It's a quick visual way to gauge what other long-term investors are focusing on. And as you review the results at the bottom of the screen, down here, you can click on the rightmost preview icon to preview key data, such as sales, earnings, price trends, and company information. without having to leave the screening tool. This preview feature gives you an instant visual snapshot of whether a stock fits the better investing mantra of up, straight, and parallel, meaning consistent growth in sales, earnings, and price. As you preview the data and find some interesting companies, you can save them to your filtered list. This acts as your own personal watch list, making it easier to revisit your top picks and start a full stock study when you're ready. Until now, we've shown you the stock ideas page from the SSG Plus view or tool. The core SSG is very similar, but slimmed down to just the basics for those just starting with the methodology. 6 individual criteria and 2 predefined screens, quality and value screen. The filtered list functionality is the same as in SSG Plus. There is no ticker heat map for core SSG users. The results section is very, very similar between the tools, with the exception that core users don't see the Morningstar grades in the results. This slide shows you the similarities and differences between core SSG and SSG Plus in chart format. You'll see that SSG Plus has more individual criteria, more predefined screens, and has the ticker heat map. If you're having trouble finding good quality companies, I often feel it's worth upgrading to Plus just for the additional screening capabilities that the tool offers. There's just so much more. To help you remember these main sections of the Stock Ideas page, we have a screening and Stock Ideas Quick Start guide that walks you through the various features of the tool in 5 easy steps. A link to this PDF is in the description of the video or the handouts area of the webinar. So we've given you a basic overview of the screening tool. Let's go live and I can give you an in-depth demo of how the features work. I'm going to switch over to my demo screen. And I'm going to start from the member homepage. I've already logged in. You can see my name up here. On this page, you'll see the gray area in the upper right-hand corner. To get to the online tools screening and stock ideas page, click on the blue box with the magnifying glass icon. That will take us directly to the screening and stock ideas page. So if we click that, this is what we're going to see. And you'll see that this magnifying glass icon is on the left. And let's start by taking a look at the predefined screens in SSG Plus right here. Those are the most user-friendly. The first predefined screen is the quality screen. This screen filters for companies with strong, consistent growth over time. It focuses on key metrics like sales growth and consistent earnings growth, as well as profitability and other management metrics, making it ideal for long-term investors seeking companies with a solid track record of performance. This is a great starting point for those looking for dependable, high-quality businesses. If you're wondering about the exact screening criteria, click on the question mark icon next to the button, which will open a window and show you that criteria. So we're looking at sales and earnings growth greater than 10%, debt to capital less than 40%, pre-tax and return on equity trends that are up or at least even, and a pretty straight line for earnings per share. We'll talk about R squared in a moment. Next, we have the value screen. This screen identifies companies that might be undervalued relative to their earnings potential. If you're hunting for bargains in the stock market, this screen helps you find stocks that are trading below what our community of investors believes they're worth, giving you a potential edge in finding growth at a reasonable price. Next, are you looking for both quality and income? The quality and dividend yield screen combines the best of both worlds. This filter targets companies with strong fundamentals, similar to the quality screen, but narrows the list to those that also provide a healthy dividend yield. It's perfect for investors seeking steady growth with some income from dividends. For those seeking higher growth potential, the small company screen focuses on smaller, lesser known companies that still meet our high quality criteria. Small size companies often have more room to grow, and this screen helps you find companies with the potential for higher returns, though they may carry more risk. If you're interested in getting in early with smaller, promising companies, this is the screen for you. And you can see as I go along, I'm clicking on each of these, and the one that is in green is the one that's actively showing in the results area. And I'll show you the results area in a minute. Next, we have the roster of quality screen. This filter is designed to match the strict selection criteria used by Toolkit's long-standing roster of quality. It highlights companies with high sales and earnings growth, low debt levels, and strong profitability. These companies are known for their consistent financial performance, making them a go-to for those conservative, quality-focused investors. And finally, we have the A-list stock screen. This screen showcases the cream of the crop, companies that are not only growth companies, but those that pass most, if not all, of the audit criteria within CoreSSG or SSGPlus. As a result, these companies have demonstrated consistent financial results and are frequently considered top choices among better investing investors. This is actually my go-to screen number one. Once you click on a button to activate the screen, the results will populate in the bottom results section of your browser, as you can see here. In just a minute, we'll review all of the results area's features. But first, let's take a look at the individual screening criteria. So when you look at the tool in SSG Plus, you'll notice a wide range of individual screening criteria on the left-hand side. These options allow you to refine your search and zero in on stocks that meet your specific requirements. So let's take a closer look at these individual criteria that are available. First, we have sales and earnings growth, two fundamental metrics for assessing a company's performance over time. You can set minimum thresholds for both by clicking on the drop-down and choosing one of the selections. And I can do that for this second selection. It doesn't have to be the same, it can be different. As you set the individual criteria, realize you can use just one criteria out of the list. You can use two. You can use them all if you want and combine them in the same query. The third one showing is the 5-year earnings per share R-squared value. And that measures how closely the changes in earnings per share follow a linear trend. A higher R-squared value, closer to 1, indicates that the company's earnings per share has shown a consistent and predictable growth pattern over this period. So we could get very close and say we want something with this greater than 0.9. That's very strict. While a lower value suggests more variability or deviation from the trend. For this particular criteria, we can mouse over and see what that exactly means. And it says EPS consistency over the last 5 data points, where 1 indicates a perfect fit with a straight line. All right, we've set it pretty strict here. You can also filter by size and sector. For example, to look for just small size companies based on Better Investing size categories, I can click on the button with the label of small. The button will turn green, indicating it is the selected criteria. You can also select one specific sector, not multiple, that you might want to look at and from the sector drop-down list. If you're seeking income, the dividend yield criterion lets you focus on companies that pay out dividends. You can set a minimum yield percentage to find stocks that provide a steady stream of income. So let's say just something greater than 0.5%. You might want to combine that with a growth criteria up top, as I've done here, which might be good for those looking to balance growth and income in their portfolios. Next, we have 2 trend indicators and their management indicators. Pre-tax profit trend and return on equity trend. These 2 criteria have a button type of selector again. In general, we like to see upward trends in both pre-tax profit and return on equity. so selecting up is the strictest choice for both. Many times, however, I'll select up and even together to allow more companies to be returned in the results. And so that's right, you can select multiple buttons for these criteria, as well as you can do the same in the size criteria. And moving down to the next three, we have the Morningstar growth grade, Morningstar profitability grade, and Morningstar financial health grade. These metrics allow you to screen for companies with strong financials and growth or profitability based on trusted Morningstar algorithms. Morningstar grades are rankings using the letters A through D and F, where A is the top or best 10% of the ranking in a sector, and F is the bottom 10% of the ranking. We actually don't see a lot of Fs in our data set. And I love to use financial health grade of B or greater, but you can use them all. I will say that these sales and earnings growth criteria do a pretty good job, and kind of the same thing as the Morningstar growth grade though. So I rarely use the Morningstar growth grade. The PE to historical earnings per share growth ratio is a valuation metric that compares a company's price to earnings, or PE ratio, to its historical earnings growth rate. A lower PE relative to historical EPS growth may indicate that the stock is undervalued, while a higher PE to earnings per share growth rate ratio could suggest that the stock is overvalued relative to its past performance. So in this screen, I'm not particularly looking for a valuation metric. I'm just looking for something that is quality, small, in healthcare, and that I might want to put on my watch list. And don't forget, you can use any combination of individual criteria in your screen. However, you cannot combine predefined screen and individual criteria. After choosing your criteria, you select the search button at the bottom. Look, no companies are found, so I'm going to make it a little less strict and say doesn't need to pay a dividend. And I'm going to loosen the financial health grade. And I'm going to say loosen up the earnings per share R squared grade, and then I'll start to get some companies. So I've created initially a very strict screen, and I'm going to loosen that up a little bit. And there's the results in the results area. If you want to reset the criteria to their original unselected state, click on the Reset Criteria button here, and you'll see that everything up in the individual criteria section on the left goes back to its original state. Next, let's take a look at our results in the results area. So let me load some results here, and I'm going to go back to that A-list stock screen. So after we've applied our screening criteria, the results area displays a list of stocks that meet your parameters, whatever they are, either predefined screened or from the individual screening side. The table itself gives us a wealth of information, allowing us to quickly assess each company at a glance. Here you'll find essential data columns such as company name, ticker, sector, size, key financial metrics like sales growth rate over the last 10 years. Here's that valuation metric and so forth. On the bottom, there is a scroll bar, and you can easily scroll to the right so you can see the rest of the columns. And in this case, those are the growth grades, profitability grades, and Morningstar financial health grades. So the table is designed to be fully interactive, make it easy to explore amongst the data that has been returned. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit farther and say I'm only showing, here's how many entries I'm showing at a time. I could do 100. I have 10 showing. If I did 100, I'll see more, obviously. I have 37 items returned from my screen in that A-list stock screen. So let me show 50. And to see the rest of them, I'm going to scroll the rest of the way down. And then there's a scroll bar here. And that's all 37 of them. One of the most powerful features of this results area is the ability to sort and filter your list. You can sort any column simply by clicking on the header. So if I want to look at sorted by sector, I see a number in consumer cyclical, a couple in consumer defensive, and so forth. You can sort by sales growth, which is fun to see which ones have the most robust sales growth over the last 10 years. Or by PE ratio, or that valuation metric, to see which ones might be undervalued, or sorting the other way, which ones might be overvalued. Additionally, you can use the search box at the top to refine your list further. So that's up here on the right. Simply type in a keyword, a ticker, or a sector, and then it will filter live or search live. So I can type in cyclical and see that now I have 7 entries filtered from 37 total. You can see this, my little cursor is down in the lower left. Everything in the consumer cyclical that came from the A-list stock screen. I can see the size. If I want just medium companies, I can do multiple. I can do search up here and filter down at the bottom and see that there's these three, Rollins, Lululemon, and Green Brick Partners. So for a quick visual snapshot, I can look at this preview data button. So I click that, and this will display a pop-up with key financial trends like sales, earnings, and price movement in those black bars, all presented in this easy-to-read chart without leaving my screening tool. You can see where the current price sits relative to the stock's 52-week high and low by this end black price bar and the red crossbar next to it. So for Green Brick Partners here, we see that the red is more towards the high, the 52-week high, than it is middle or low, which may be something worth taking a look at. See, if the company's doing that well, that it's almost near its 52-week high. Now, if you don't know the company that you're looking at, but it looks intriguing, you can click on the question mark icon, which will give you the full Morningstar description of the company, the sector and industry that are down below, consumer cyclical and residential construction, and then that Morningstar financial health grade of B. So if this company intrigues you, or one of the ones that you are previewing, you can save it for later. The preview pop-up lets you save stocks to a filtered list by simply clicking the star icon in the pop-up. This feature then will turn yellow and it will be saved to a filtered list, which is kind of like a custom watch list of stocks you've screened and want to revisit. And it makes it easier to track and study them over time if you're just not committed to making a watch list, but some interesting ideas you might want to follow up on. You can access the filtered list at any time you're on this screening page by showing your filtered companies. And here's a little explainer of what the filtered list is and what you can do with it. So if I want to see all the companies that I have filtered, I'm going to click Show Filtered Companies. And then scroll down. And we see that the green button for Show Filtered Companies is active, so I can tell that's what I'm seeing. And here's that Green Brick Partners, which is the 6th one down, the 6th row down. If I want to take companies off the filtered list, I have 2 options. I can go back to the preview pane, click that pin icon again, and it will unpin it from my filters list, or I can clear the whole list in its entirety. But I just removed that one, so let me click on Show Filtered Companies again. Scroll down and you'll see that I'm going to sort them by company name. Green Brick Partners is now gone from the list. So once you've identified a stock that might interest you, you can click the company row to open a full stock selection guide for deeper analysis. If you want to save or share your screening results, you can also export the data as a CSV file by clicking here on the button, and it will come up in a comma-separated values file that is easy to open in any spreadsheet application like Excel or Sheets or Numbers. And with that, we've kind of gone through all of the pieces that are relevant to the results area. So let's move on and make sure we talk about the ticker heat map. To look at the page again, we'll see on the right that there is the ticker heat map in SSGPlus. Now what you're seeing is just a picture, but if I mouse over it, I see it become active with the little hand symbol. And to see all of the ticker heat map data, I'm going to click on the picture, and up pops a much bigger image. And once open, it's kind of easy to navigate. I can move my mouse over any of these boxes, and what it shows are the top 100 stocks being studied in the Better Investing community through the online tools over the last 90 days. Each square on the heat map represents a stock, and they are all grouped by sector. So we have the technology sector here on the left, consumer cyclical and healthcare in the center, and so forth. And so it makes it easy to spot trends across different sectors. And I'll show you that in a second. One of the first things you'll notice, though, on the ticker heat map is the boxes vary by size. We go from something very small, let's find one, maybe Copart, CPRT, to something that's much larger. The larger the box, the more studies that have been conducted on that particular company. For example, a company like NVIDIA or Visa might have a larger box due to their popularity amongst investors. The color of the box provides another layer of insight. The color gradient ranges from dark green to dark red. Dark green indicates stocks that may be considered more favorable based on projected potential returns and management indicators. And dark red signifies stocks that may be less favorable in terms of projected returns and management indicators according to the data collected from those recent stock studies. It's important to remember that this color ranking is relative. Green doesn't necessarily mean a stock is a buy, and red doesn't mean it's a sell. The map simply shows how each stock ranks against others in terms of potential favorability. You can hover over any box to see key details about the stock, including the company name, the sector, the industry, historical growth rates for sales and earnings, and how many studies have been done in the last 90 days. So for me, looking at NVIDIA, and I see that 2,355 studies have been created and studied in the last 90 days is amazing to me. This indicates the power of our like-minded community. The one nice thing about this hover box is that it gives you a quick snapshot of the company without leaving the heat map. So if you want to dive deeper into that company, you can just click on the box to open a stock selection guide in a new tab. And that will open in CoreSSG or SSGPlus. So you can see I clicked on NVIDIA and there's NVIDIA open. The ticker heat map also allows you to spot trends across the entire sector. So let me open that again and point out the map is divided by sector. So you can quickly see if one area is getting more attention from the community. For example, you might notice that technology has is taking up the most space, indicating technology stocks are getting more attention by the community than others. But you also may notice that in the communication services area, that they're all green boxes, which might indicate that there is potentially depressed prices and therefore more favorable projections for those stocks as a sector. So sometimes we see a little bit of red, not a ton, not every stock in industrials is red, but sometimes when we're looking at this map, we definitely see a downturn or an upturn or in a particular sector. So another great feature is that the heat map is updated daily. So you're always looking at the most current data. Every day, the number of studies and the relative rankings or color of the stocks are recalculated based on the latest information, ensuring that you're making decisions with up-to-date data. So that's a ticker heat map. Again, it's available only to Plus members and SSG Plus users. I would encourage you to give it a try and see if you can find any stocks that deserve a closer look. Before we move on to the next part of our program, Anne, do we have any questions about the stock ideas page, screening, or the ticker heat map?
Yeah, Susie, we do have a couple of questions regarding the criteria, the search criteria. Um, oh, here it is. Does this screener pick up foreign stocks that are traded on U.S. exchanges?
Yes, it absolutely does. If a company is traded on a U.S. exchange, whether it's an ADR or not, because some foreign companies actually are not ADRs, but it will be shown here. So in the bottom criteria, there's the traded exchange. We have a couple of, we have a number of Canadian investors within our Better Investing community, and they might be interested in Canadian exchanges, but the default is U.S. exchanges. So if it's a foreign company and traded on a U.S. exchange, then it will show up here.
All right, great. Another question, when you get some results from however you've done it, predefined, screened, or search criteria, can you print those results?
Great question. Actually, I'm going to say there is not a pre-formatted report for these results, but I would recommend exporting them as a CSV and printing them out of your favorite spreadsheet program.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
One more came in as you were talking, maybe a couple.
Sure.
How often are the predefined screens updated?
They are actually updated daily.
The data
is updated behind them is updated daily. So, things don't move that quickly in actuality with company financials and fundamentals. So you may not see a difference in a screen from one day to another, but the data is up to date as of every morning. And if some company, let me give you an example. Let's say some company reports their newest earnings, particularly if they're annual earnings and annual financials, they may pop into or leave one of these predefined screens, for example. But it's screening based on today's data always. I hope that answers that question.
I think it did perfectly. That's all we've got for now, Susie. So why don't we move on?
Okay. So I'm going to go back to our Better Investing website. And we're going to go talk about different areas of the website and where other stock ideas can be found. So let me go live back to our website, and I'm going to go to Member Home. We have multiple areas on the site that give you access to many, many stock ideas. To get started, first make sure that you are logged in. Then, once you are here on the member homepage, navigate to Find Great Stocks. This is your key to stock ideas. From the drop-down, we're first going to look at First Cut stock reports. Note that there is also a link to First Cut stock reports right here on the member homepage, and you can click View All here. That's going to do the same thing as me clicking on this navigation item. So I'm going to click on that, and we're going to end up in the first cut stock report section. And here's where you'll find a collection of stock studies submitted by Better Investing members. Each report provides a detailed analysis and insights into individual companies along with a completed stock selection guide, giving you a head start in your research. So once we're on this first cut stock reports page, we're going to scroll down a little bit and we'll see a table that lists all of the available stock reports. The table includes important details like the name, the ticker, the sector, the size, when the study was created or submitted. You can also see how many reports have been submitted by stock, for each stock rather, giving you a sense of how much community interest there is in each company. If you go right over to the edge, you'll see that the table itself has a scroll bar, and we can see many, many companies are listed if we scroll down carefully. You can get a sense of the breadth of the coverage. That's a very long scroll bar. In fact, we have over 450 companies covered in first cut stock reports. So to make it easy to find the company that you might be interested in, you can use the search bar at the top of the table. So it's this text box that says search in it. You type in the company name or the ticker, and I can bring up 3 company names that start with super, and the list will update and automatically update in real time to match the query up at the top. If you want to reset it, you can backspace and reset it. We can also search on any data that is in this table. So let's say we want to look for the technology sector and see what's in there. I start typing the word technology, and you can see it filters down to just the technology companies. If there happened to be a company that had technology in its name, it would also show up, because it's the search here or filter is looking at any data in the table. Now I'm going to erase that and reset the search and let you know that you can sort any of these columns. They have the little sort icons here to help you also quickly find companies. If I wanted to look at all small companies at the top, I can see those. If I wanted to look at the latest companies, I can see those, the ones that are loaded there at the top. And as a matter of fact, when you come into this page, they are automatically sorted by latest study at the top. So let's open a first cut stock report. So I'm going to simply click the view button. I think I'm going to show you one with a couple of authors, and click the view button next to any company that you want to explore. And this will open a detailed stock report page where you'll find an overview of the company, some relevant links at the bottom, and a list of stock reports submitted by the various authors. So we see Skyworks, we see the ticker, the company size, sector, industry, a description for the company if you're not familiar with it, and then these links that I mentioned. The last link here to the online SSG is so you can open a brand new version of a Skyworks Solutions SSG. It does not represent one of the submitted stock reports. But we do have 2 submitted first cut stock reports for this company, and they are in PDF format. And if we click on them to open them, in my computer, it's going to open in a browser window. But depending on your computer's configurations, this might open in a browser window or a separate application like Adobe Reader. And the PDF report provides information on the company's business model, financials, growth prospects. Each report begins with a brief introduction about why the stock was selected as a quality growth company. There may also be a commentary about how the company makes money and a summary of the company's strengths and challenges. All of this along with the author's projections for the SSG forecast. So let's scroll down and see that. So we see their exact projections in relationship to the SSG that we all use. And at the bottom, this report also includes the actual stock selection guide form, so you can see how the company and the author's forecast look on that completed SSG. So first cut stock reports are a great starting point for your own stock analysis. They provide you with a thorough overview and use real-world data from other investors who have already done some legwork. However, it's important to remember that these reports are intended as a first step in your research process. You should always do your own due diligence to determine whether a stock fits your investment criteria. Additionally, since these reports are created by different members of the Better Investing community, you may see multiple reports for the same company, as we did. This gives you the opportunity to compare different perspectives and gain a deeper understanding of the company's long-term potential. Now, if you want to submit your own stock study to the Better Investing community, you can do that. I'm going to go back to that company page for Skyworks and figure out how to get access to the First Cut Stock Report form. And to do that, I'm going to go back to the First Cut Stock Reports page, either by going back to Find Great Stocks or clicking here on the breadcrumb. And that on that original landing page for First Cuts, there is a template, and we can download that First Cut Stock Report template. And I'm going to pull this over so you can see it once it loads on my computer. Just give me a second here. And here we go. I'm going to pull that over so you can see it. And it's a Word doc, but it will also open in Google Docs. And you can see that there is a template, and it walks you through the steps of creating your report, including filling in the introductory information, then filling in the key financial information. And basically, we want to know, in your words, why you consider this to be a high quality growth company. We want to know what your judgments are. Anne is the one doing the reviewing. She is not the judgment police, but she does want to know, why did you select this rate? So give some justification for selecting your projections. And then you attach a completed stock selection guide. And once submitted, your report will be reviewed. And if it meets the standards, it will be published on the site for others to benefit from. So let me go back to our page here. All of these reports can be a valuable resource for stock ideas that complement the stock ideas page and other ideas on the website. They can also provide a jumpstart to your company research. And before we move on to other stock ideas, do you have any questions about First Cut stock reports?
We do not, Suzi.
All right, perfect.
We're all set there.
Yeah, so from here, let's go on to look at some other stock ideas under that first Find Great Stocks dropdown. So I'm going to go back using the breadcrumb to Find Great Stocks. And we started with First Cut stock reports. Actually, let me do that from here. And then I am going to actually pick stock ideas. And under stock ideas, we have 5 different kinds of stock ideas. And let's start with the first one. Let's start with the stocks featured in Better Investing magazine. So clicking on that, each month, the Securities and Review Committee selects a company that they believe is worthy of your attention and research. The stock to study often highlights companies with strong fundamentals, steady growth, and long-term potential. So these might be perfect for investors looking to build a solid portfolio. The undervalued stock focuses on companies that are trading below their perceived value, offering a potential opportunity for investors who are looking for growth at a discount. The links to the historical list of stocks going back several years is available, and they are in spreadsheet or PDF format. So let me open the PDF here. And you'll see that here is 2024 and all of the magazine issues. You're probably wondering why we have November and December already listed, because the committee has already met and picked the stocks for those magazines, and they were announced already this year. So you see that by month of the magazine issue, we have the stock to study and then the undervalued stock in the rightmost column. And in Better Investing magazine, each stock is accompanied by an in-depth study, which provides valuable insights into the company's financials, business model, growth prospects, and valuation. And you can click on Better Investing magazine to go read the magazine articles within our archives. Next, in the navigation, we have 5 and 5 Ticker Talk stock ideas. And those originate from our monthly Ticker Talk webinars 5 and 5 segment. So on this page, we'll click the green button to move to the Ticker Talk landing page. And on that Ticker Talk landing page, you'll see a couple of links, many links in fact. The first link is a link to the event page that says that will allow you to sign up for the next Ticker Talk webinar. Down at the bottom, we'll see a blue button which links to the Ticker Talk past webinar recordings in the video learning library. So you're simply going to click the link here, and then that will open up the video learning library. More interestingly, however, there's a link to download the 5 and 5 stock ideas in a spreadsheet format. So I'm going to click that link, and I've downloaded it a few times. We're going to open that file, and I will drag it over. Gotta wait for my Excel to open. And then I will show you what that looks like. Here's what that spreadsheet looks like. So for every Ticker Talk session that we have had, there's 5 stock ideas. The list is updated with the most recent, and it gives the ticker, the company name, the date it was mentioned, the closing price on that date, in case you're the data-oriented type and want to see how good we are at mentioning stocks in 5 and 5. The size of the company, medium or large, the sector in which it's classified in the industry, and whether that company pays a dividend or not. Down at the bottom, there are a number of sheets inside the workbook, and we go back to 2020 with this listing. So what you can do, if you'll notice, it's already filtered and sorted from earliest to latest. So within each yearly sheet, you can filter the data if you so choose. Okay, I'm going to close this out. and then go back to our stock ideas submenu. And the third item here are the Better Investing weekly stock screens. So these screens provide stock ideas, fresh stock ideas, based on specific screening criteria such as high quality growth companies, small and medium companies, dividend payers, or undervalued stocks. It's a different screen every time. And the weekly stock screens are another great way to quickly identify potential investment opportunities. So here you'll find this high quality growth company screen that was just done yesterday and went out in our BI weekly email today, which went out, I think, about 4 o'clock this afternoon. And you'll also see that you can have two ways of opening this data, spreadsheet or PDF. If I click on the PDF, there is the list of stock ideas from this week's screen. And actually, let me go back there. Up at the top, you can see a description of how the criteria used in that screen at the top of it. So that's sometimes helpful if you want to try and replicate that or do something slightly different. Got off track here. But I do want to show you that down at the bottom of the page, there are stock screens from previous weeks in case you've missed any. And if you look at the dates, you'll notice that they're about 2 weeks apart. So every 2 weeks in Better Investing Weekly, we will post another stock screen. But you can always come back to the website here under Find Great Stocks and Stock Ideas to see them all in one place. All right, let's go back up to the top and take a look at the fourth item, and that is most active stocks. The most active stocks list is comprised of the stocks most commonly transacted by our investment clubs during the trailing 8 weeks. The list tracks the buys and sells recorded by investment clubs subscribing to myiClub.com, which is our online club accounting application. Now, the list might be only updated monthly on this page. Actually, it was updated today, but generally we update it about once a month. To see the most recent data that we have, which is updated weekly, there is a list on the member homepage. You can access the member homepage by clicking on this most active stocks link and going there, or you can always click on the Better Investing logo to get back to the homepage. So I'm going to scroll a little bit down on the member homepage, and most active stocks shows up here in this black or very dark gray section. And this is as of 10/20. It's redone once a week and is another most active stocks list. And what might be interesting here when you're looking at most active stocks like this is that what are the investment clubs selling? So usually there's buys, a lot of buys, some sells, that's fine. What we notice here from Apple that may be noteworthy to you is that there's some buys, but more sells. So I always think that's a little interesting view when I survey this list. Now going back to, again, Find Great Stocks and Stock Ideas. The last item in our left navigation is the top 100 list. Every year, Better Investing compiles a list of the top 100 stocks most commonly held by investment clubs. To see the magazine article where the top 100 list is published in the April magazine, click on the blue button that says See Top 100 List. The magazine article will open and you can view the list of stocks in that PDF format. I'm going to scroll down so you can see what that looks like. Actually, maybe I can blow it up a little. There you go. So it gives you the company, the ticker, the size, the sector, the rank by number of clubs holding, and then rank by number of shares held. Those are two different things. So, for example, Disney might be held and is ranked 8th by number of clubs holding, but it's only ranked 27th by number of total shares held by the community. And then the estimated total value of shares held by our Better Investing My iClub community is 300. For example, for Apple, we own $321 million amongst the investment clubs. I think that's fascinating. And the power of our collective community. So now that you know how to access all of these website resources, you can use them together, peruse them to search for more stock ideas that may not be found in results from the online tool screener. You might find something different there. So I'm going to turn back to our PowerPoint. And give you a recap. And so in summary, we have a wealth of stock ideas and resources that are suitable for better investing investors, which you can review and drop us a line and tell us your favorites. We'd love to hear from you. So Anne, do we have any final questions before we wrap up our webinar?
Well, there wasn't, but one just came in.
Okay,
So,
great.
Stuart is asking, where do we, Better Investing, get the data as to the club holdings?
Oh, great. Well, that's the club data as of the clubs using myiclub.com club accounting software. That's where we get our club holding data. And MyIClub is the largest investment club or partnership accounting platform. So we feel it's truly representative of what the Better Investing community is doing.
Okay.
Anything else?
There has not been a bigger flurry. I'm not seeing any. Well, wait, one just came in. What does this say? If you update an SSG, this is an interesting question. If you
Okay.
update an SSG,
Mm-hmm.
is the updated SSG counted as a new SSG on the heat map?
Oh, no, it's counted as an original SSG with an updated data. So the heat map is more of a popularity contest because it's the top 100 companies studied in the last 90 days. In that heat map view, we don't count whether the study has been completed or not. Bit of a difference from member sentiment estimates. So it's really just a popularity contest, but we do go to the studies that have been completed to help set those favorability rankings. So let's say there was 2,000 NVIDIA studies and you updated your study, didn't create a copy, there would still be just 2,000 studies. If you changed your forecast in your NVIDIA study, that might help microscopically change the rankings, but not by much, not with that kind of data. I'm really happy that we have so many people in our community that are studying stocks that we can have statistically significant data on some of this. So short answer is no, it doesn't.
All right, very good. Okay, this is a second person that asked, so I'm going to ask it out loud. I answered one person.
Sure.
Is there a way to save your search criteria when you're adding that to the stock ideas page?
Great question. At this time, no, there's not a way to save your search criteria, but that is a great suggestion. And I'm going to talk about suggestions in a second here. So,
it's right there on that screen. That's where I sent the first guy or person. I don't remember. Anyway, you continue on. That's
all right.
That's it for right now.
All
Nothing
right, great.
else.
I will remind everyone that you can email us for help on tools, on your membership, whatever, at service@betterinvesting.org. Also, if you have a suggestion for a future improvement search criteria person, please visit feedback.betterinvesting.org and submit it for consideration. And that's a wrap. I want to thank everyone for taking time out of your night to visit with us, listen to the webinar. Hopefully you learned a few things about your member benefits and where you can find stock ideas. Thank you, Anne, and our backroom staff of Roy Chastain. We appreciate you volunteering your time tonight. So good night, all.
Good night.